A to Z Mysteries by Ron Roy, The Canary Caper. The Canary Caper. Does anyone know what a canary is?
A bird.
It is. Good job. It is. It's kind of a bird that's usually kept as a pet in your home. So we can see on the title page there is a yellow, oh, not a yellow, a black and white feather that maybe is part of a clue. And this is where I got the map of the town of Greenlawn. Okay, so that's downloadable. And here's the illustration for chapter 1. The illustration for chapter 1, right? Some of you might know who those kids are. Some of you might not. So let's find out. Chapter 1. Dink Duncan opened his front door. His best friend Josh Pinto was standing on the steps. "Hi, Josh. Come on in," said Dink. "I just finished lunch." Josh hurried past Dink, wiping his forehead. "We sure picked the hottest day of the summer to go to the circus," he said. "I just took a shower and I'm still hot." All right, so thumbs up. Have you ever been to a circus? Right? You know what a circus is. Right? Yeah, you know, okay, maybe you have not been to a circus. That's great. Maybe we'll find out more about the circus by reading this story. Trey, do you have a quick question?
I was going to say that a canary was a bird.
Oh, terrific. Well, thank you. I'm glad you all know what that is. Jolynn, quick question?
I was just saying that since you said we were on 2 pages, everyone for me is on a 1 whole page.
Oh, terrific. That's great. All right, so let's find out what happens next. Dink grinned. "You took a shower? Let's see, that's 2 showers this month, right?" "Ha ha, very funny," Josh said. He opened the refrigerator door and pulled up his shirt. "Ah, that feels good." "It won't feel so good if my mom catches you," Dink said. Josh grabbed the apple juice and flopped into a chair. "You're funny, but it's too hot to laugh," he said, pouring himself a glass. "Where's Ruth Rose? It's almost time to leave." "She's waiting next door." Dink put his plate in the sink. "I have to run up and brush my teeth." "Forget your teeth. The circus is waiting." Dink grinned and pointed to a clown-faced cookie jar on the counter. "Grab a cookie. I'll be right down." Josh made a beeline for the cookie jar. "Take your time brushing," he said. Why do you think he said that? Adriana?
Because he wanted to eat the cookie.
You got it. Great listening. Quinn, is that what you were going to say? Yeah. Probably because he wanted to eat more than 1 cookie, maybe. "Don't eat all of them," Dink said, leaping up the stairs. "Dink," his mother called. "Are you running?" "Sorry, Mom," he called back. "We're in a hurry. Thursday is half-price admission if we get to the circus by 1 o'clock. Dink brushed his teeth, yanked a comb through his blonde hair, then charged back down the stairs. "Donald David Duncan," his mother yelled. "No running in the house." The phone rang in the kitchen. "Got it, Mom?" Dink grabbed the phone, watching Josh stuff a whole cookie in his mouth. "Hello, Duncan residence." Dink listened, then said, "We'll be right over in 5 minutes." He hung up. "We'll be over where in 5 minutes?" Josh asked. "Mrs. Davis's house. You know her canary Mozart? He escaped." All right, so I'm going to stop right there. Who knows who Mozart was? Ooh, let's see. I'm going to ask Mr. Blake. What's your first name? Tell us who Mozart was.
Wasn't he a piano player?
A piano player. Mac, what were you going to say?
I think a famous piano player.
Yes, and he didn't just play the piano. And Anderson.
He wrote songs.
He wrote or composed the music as well. Very good. world famous across hundreds of years. Terrific. So I wonder why Mrs. Davis named her canary Mozart. All right. What about the circus? Asked Josh. Half price, remember? Dink shrugged. So we pay full price. Mrs. Davis needs our help. They walked next door to Ruth Rose's house and rang the bell. 4-year-old Nate Hathaway opened the door. He stared up at Dink with huge blue eyes. Hi, Natey, said Dink. Is Ruth Rose ready? Nate's lips, cheeks, and t-shirt were smeared with chocolate. He was holding a raggedy stuffed dinosaur. She's unconfused, Nate said with a full mouth. Dink laughed. She's what? Ruth Rose showed up behind Nate. Mom, we're leaving now. She screamed into the house. Josh clapped both hands over his ears. Ruth Rose, you should get a job as a car salesman. Then you could yell all day and get paid for it. Ruth Rose stepped outside and closed the door. You know perfectly well that I'm going to be president, she said sweetly. And it's saleswoman, Josh. Ruth Rose liked to dress in one color. Today it was purple, from her sneakers to the headband holding back her black curls. While they walked down Woody Street, if you have the map, maybe you can take a look at where Josh lives and Ruth Rose lives and where Woody Street is, and you can see where they're going. Dink told Ruth Rose about Mrs. Davis's missing canary. Mozart got out of his cage, Ruth Rose said. I hope he doesn't fly over here. Tiger could swallow a canary in one bite. Your fat cat could swallow a turkey in one bite, Josh said. Ruth Rose rolled her eyes. Tiger is plump, she said, not fat. Race you! Mrs. Davis was standing in the doorway of her large yellow house when they arrived. Thank you for coming right over, she said. All right, so here's a photo of Mrs. Davis's house. All right, and maybe you can find it on the map, and maybe you can think to yourself, is that a long walk? Is it a short house? Like, how many houses was it? I would be asking myself. And do you have a friend that lives, that many houses away? Have you ever walked that far to get to a friend's house? Mrs. Davis held a handkerchief and her eyes were red. I didn't know who else to call. We don't mind, Dink said. What happened to Mozart? After breakfast, I hung his cage out back so he could have some fresh air, but when I went to give him his lunch, his cage was empty. I'm sure he's somewhere nearby. Don't worry, Dink said. Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose ran around to the backyard. Mozart's cage was hanging in an apple tree. That's what I showed you before we started reading that page. Split up, Dink said. Check all the bushes and flowers. The kids searched every tree, shrub, and flower bed. Oh. Hold on. Okay. Mrs. Davis watched from her back porch. Any luck? She asked Dink. He shook his head. I'm afraid not, but we'll keep looking. It's such a beautiful day, Mrs. Davis said. I hope you kids have something fun planned. After we find Mozart, we're going to the circus, Dink told her. The circus? Well, please don't let me stop you, Mrs. Davis said. Mozart knows his cage. I'm sure he'll fly home soon. But Dink could tell that Mrs. Davis wasn't really sure. Okay, but we'll call you later, he promised. They said goodbye to Mrs. Davis and headed for the high school. So I'd be looking at my map trying to figure out how far away that is. I'd be wondering if my mom would let me walk that far with just 2 friends. The Tinkertown Traveling Circus had set up on the school's baseball field the day before and would leave town Monday night. The kids cut through a bunch of circus trailers and trucks on their way to the admissions gate. The sides of the trailers were painted with pictures of clowns, tigers, and elephants. They arrived 5 minutes after 1, but the ticket lady let them in for half price anyway, $1 each. What do we do first? Ruth Rose asked. Let's eat, Josh said. No way, Dink said. You already had lunch, and you probably gobbled down half my mom's cookies. Let's walk around and see what's here. They watched birds do tricks, dogs ride on ponies, and a chimp dressed like Elvis sing into a microphone. right? So I'd be thinking to myself, Elvis, who's Elvis? And if you don't know, then I bet your parents know. So that would be another thing to look up, right? That'd be another thing to look up or think about. Melanie, your hand is up. Do you have a question? I think she's working on unmuting. Thank you for your patience, my friends. Andrew, do you have a question?
I know who Elvis Presley is.
Oh, good. That's good. That's good. Tell your parents. I think that is awesome that you know who Elvis is. Elvis was who, Andrew?
He was a famous singer.
Very famous singer. That's right. People like to impersonate Elvis a lot or dress up like him and talk and sing like him. So, very good. Excellent. Okay, here's a big picture. Great for those of you who have never been to a circus. Over here and over here, sort of where the people who are watching later on might watch on the recording. All right, circus. They all gulped when a tiger trainer put his hand right inside a tiger's mouth. Guess the tiger's not hungry, Josh said with a grin. In Clown Corner, a clown dressed as a giraffe danced on stilts. I'd be thinking, do you know what stilts are? Right? He kept time to the music by snapping his yellow suspenders. Right? I have to leave soon, Ruth Rose said after a while. My mom needs me to watch Nate while she goes shopping. The kids left, cutting through the town rose garden to get to Woody Street. All right, so that's another thing you can look for on your map. The town rose garden, and where is Woody Street? Okay, so you're following along. These kids are getting a great workout. Dink snapped his fingers. I just remembered my mom said I can set up my tent in the backyard. Can you guys get permission to sleep out? No problem for me, Josh said. Nate's never slept in a tent, so I'll bring him, Ruth Rose said. And Tiger, she added sweetly. Your little brother, Josh yelped. Great, we'll have our own circus. A 4-year-old monkey and a man-eating tiger. Ruth Rose laughed. Don't worry, we'll bring our own tent. Dink and Josh dropped Ruth Rose off at her house, then continued on to Dink's. There they went inside and called Mrs. Davis. She says Mozart hasn't come back, Dink told Josh after he'd hung up. While they were pitching Dink's tent, Ruth Rose came over. Nate trailed behind her, dragging his extinct-looking stuffed dinosaur. Hey, where's your man-eating cat? Josh asked. Ruth Rose dropped her tent on the ground. She looked as if she'd just swallowed something nasty. What's the matter, Ruth Rose? Dink asked. Tiger is missing, Ruth Rose said quietly. And my mother says she hasn't been home all day.